Welcome to the Paris-Gainey podcast, or the Noah Gainey podcast. Let's call it the Paris-Gainey podcast. This is going to be episode number 9 now. So I just got home from work, y'all. I'm super tired. It was a busy day at the wharf, and I've got a lot going on right now, but I'm super excited to have this episode with Chris here. He's our special guest of the day today. Chris Fraser. He works with DR Horton, and I'm super excited to just get to know him a little better and talk to him about business and talk to him about Jesus and his walk with Jesus. And so, let's get into it.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, dude. So first question that I always like to start out with, because I think it's like an important question to ask and kind of like gives people a little bit of background, is like, what was your childhood like? Like, where'd you grow up? And what are some of your favorite childhood memories?
Yeah, for sure. It's funny. That's a good question. Where did you grow up? I kind of think I grew up everywhere, still growing up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I grew up in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, that kind of area, the Northeast. And then my folks got divorced, and I went to live with my dad. So primarily, my childhood was in outside of Pennsylvania, outside of Philadelphia, and then New Jersey is where I graduated high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, in fact, a couple years ago, I took my kids back from Montana to Philadelphia area, to Flourtown is where I lived, and the first church I went to was the Presbyterian Church in Flourtown. So I got to show them all that. And, and I kind of like history, and then we went out to Valley Forge and, did some historical sites. But I got to show them a house that I grew up in. And, so New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And how did you get into real estate? Was that something you got into early on, or?
There's a couple subjects that my dad and I could talk about, and one was football.
Okay.
And one was real estate. My dad was a Wall Street guy, but he loved real estate, and he loved the utility of real estate. And he did a small development outside of Philadelphia, and he learned a lot on that. It was like a 5-acre parcel that he split into 1-acre lots.
Okay.
And I was like 7 or 8 years old and everything, and would drive out with him, and I would listen to the conversations with him and the builders and all that. And it was kind of a cool experience. I learned a lot by watching him, but it was a tough development. And I remember years later I asked him about it, and he's like, I don't think I'll ever do that again, because of all the payoffs he had with all the county commissioners in order to get this road or this culvert, or who do I get gravel from, and it was all kind of corrupted, and so it ruined him on that. But he did teach me a lot about real estate, and he and I always loved to go look at real estate together, just driving around.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what was driving it, and then on the flip side of that is my household was a little chaotic, and so I naturally empathize with people, and I like to take care of people, and I like to make sure people are okay.
Yeah.
So there's that representation side, the fiduciary. I take that very serious.
Yeah.
In protecting people.
Yeah. So when did you officially become licensed in real estate for the first time?
Right. It was it was April of 2003. And
Okay.
I lived in a town, Grapevine, Texas. And
how old were you when you first got licensed?
30. I was 33.
33. Okay.
Yeah. And and I worked for a residential broker there, and learned a lot. And my wife at the time wanted to move back to Montana. And I didn't want to move back to Montana and work for Walmart or something like that. I was in my 30s, and I wanted to do something.
Yeah.
Always wanted to build a business. So I got my feet wet in real estate brokerage there, and then when we moved up to Montana, I just got my Montana license and hit the ground running.
So what were you doing before real estate, like in your 20s? What did that look like?
Well, I graduated in 1992 from Virginia Commonwealth University with an economics degree. And in 1992, there was a recession going on at the time. And I went out west and I worked on some guest ranches, the hospitality industry. And I kind of grew up in the restaurant business.
Oh, okay. So you worked in restaurants too?
Yeah. So I kind of went out exploring for a few years. And then my dad, like I said, he was a Wall Street guy. And he always wanted me to follow in his footsteps. So he kind of arranged for me to meet some of his buddies. And one of his buddies hired me. And I got into Wall Street a little bit. And very soon realized that that was really my dad's thing. It wasn't my thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The culture of it was a little rough. I didn't care for all the glitter and all that fancy stuff. I just wanted more authenticity. And so I decided to go to Main Street, and I found that in real estate.
Yeah. So I guess my next question is, like, when did you start your walk with Jesus? Like, what did that look like? And what's your testimony?
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's funny, like going back to Flower Mound, I was like 5, 6, 7 years old. We would go to church every Sunday, and that kind of a thing, and Sunday school and all that. When my folks got divorced, I went to live with my dad, and there was a Presbyterian church like right down the street from us. And I would get up on Sunday and walk down to church, and I was the only one to go do that.
Yeah.
So I stayed with it, and I liked the community of church. I always loved the traditional Christmas, services and whatnot, and I always had a connection. But years later, I really found God in the halls of Alcoholics Anonymous. So that's where my walk with God started. And I remember I was scared to death. A buddy of mine took me to a treatment center, alcohol treatment center. And I'm really thinking back now.
Yeah.
So anyway, I said, okay, take me wherever I need to go, right? And he took me to this treatment center, and I remember I was admitted, and the first thing I did was they took me downstairs, and there was a Narcotics Anonymous meeting going on. And like walking down the steps to the basement, there's all these like let go and let God, and I was like, what am I getting into? You know what I mean? And anyway, changed my life.
Yeah. Did you have like a friend or somebody who was like kind of guiding you in that time, or was it just
in the program I did get a sponsor, and I did work the steps, and it was really through kind of a complicated story, but I was in Wyoming, got sober, went to a treatment, and then I knew I had to get out of Wyoming, because it was like, if you take an alcoholic, take them out of their scene, rehab them, but then put them back in the same scene, chances are not good.
Yeah, they're just gonna.
So I naturally, when I got back to that scene, I was like, I got to get out of here.
Oh.
So my mom lived in Florida, and I drove down to Florida, and I started going to AA down there, and Sarasota.
Oh, okay.
And I remember I was working for this landscaping guy, and he's like, hey, you go with Dave today. And Dave there was 2 crews, and Dave was kind of this really rough, he was a veteran, I don't know what he saw or whatever, but he was just a rough guy. And I remember riding with him one day, and he's like, so what do you do? I was like, oh, I just work and I go to meetings. And he's like, what kind of meetings? And I told him, and he's like, he called me on my crap at that moment. You know what I mean? And he's like, do you just go to meetings or do you work the program? And I didn't have an answer for him.
Yeah.
And he's like, look, when you start working the program is when you're going to move.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. So that night I went to a meeting and found a sponsor.
Yeah.
And that's when really it was more on the spiritual side. I didn't get into the Bible side, until later, but that was where I started.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, you're part of a church now.
Yeah.
Here in Pensacola. What's that church called?
Echo Life Church.
Okay. And how long have you been going there?
Man, I've been going to there about a year. When I came down from Montana, I went to this great church up there, Canvas Church. They have multiple campuses across the state, but really great group. And came down here, and I was trying to find a church, and I ventured out to a few of them, and I just wasn't finding my fit. And then I think I was having dinner one night at a restaurant, and I asked my server.
Yeah.
I was like, "Hey, where do you go to church?" You know what I mean? And they're like, "Hey, go to Echo." And I went to Echo, and yeah, I love it.
Yeah, good.
Pastor Joe.
And you serve there?
Well, I do. I'm on the safety team.
Yeah.
Safety and care. So, so I have some unique experience in my life. I was a reserve deputy for the sheriff's department, and then I was on search and rescue up in Montana. And I come from that, again, protecting people, making sure they're okay, right? Searching for lost kids. I come from that aspect. So that was one of the teams that it connected with me. I just feel like I like being behind the scene, kind of.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, super cool. So, yeah, I guess my next question is like, so you've been in Pensacola for how long now? I forget. It's been a matter of months.
I literally got here January 1st, 2025.
Oh, okay. So it's been a little over a year.
Little over a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you immediately start with DR Horton, or?
No, you know what? I picked up some odd jobs around some sales gigs and whatnot. I really wanted to learn the area.
Yeah.
Because I had my Montana broker's license, and I immediately got my Florida broker's license. And I have an insurance license, but I didn't want to learn. I didn't want to pay to learn the area, so I figured I'll get a job, and I got a job in sales, so it took me all over, and I feel like I know the area pretty well.
Yeah, were you selling like solar, or were you selling?
No, I was selling alarm systems.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was, I actually, you know what? So I went through a divorce, and I went through a period of time where I didn't really talk to a lot of people, and so when I got down here, I was just kind of sitting on the couch, and I was like, I got to do something,
Yeah.
But I want to do something where I learn some sales.
Yeah.
And I want to get out talking to people.
Right.
And so
that's good.
That got me doing that.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of the reasons that God has put me in the position to do real estate, because I've always been, I don't want to say like, well, I haven't always been antisocial, but like when I was growing up, I guess like I had certain times where like, I don't know, I felt like I was being made fun of or bullied or whatever. And so by the time I got to, I'd say like even middle school, like I was kind of a little bit more reserved, like on the reserved, introverted side. But my mom always told me like when I was a kid, I would walk up to random people and just like start a conversation with them. And so I want that side of me to come back out, and I was praying about it. And I think like real estate is one of the ways that it's kind of slowly starting to, happen, and I'm coming out of my shell. So it's been really good for me in that way, but also just like learning how to build a business, and like a sustainable business, because like, I don't know, it's been really good for me to learn the ins and outs of a business that I knew nothing about before I even started. Like when I got my license, like I had very little understanding of what real estate actually was. Mm-hmm. And so I had to like really learn it, because there was some people I would talk to and I would be like, geez, like this is supposed to be my client, but I feel like he knows more about real estate than I do. So I really had to take a lot of time to just learn. And, I think one of the things that teaches me a lot is just talking to people.
Yeah.
So like, I learn a lot by having conversations with people and, just actually making mistakes. So that's been good. But yeah. I mean, real estate's been a really good way for me to get out of my shell, start talking to people, and just like feel like myself again. Because for so many years, and like serving and waiting tables did that for me a little bit. But I wasn't like building very intimate relationships with people how you do in real estate, because in real estate, you have to get a little more personal with someone in the sense that you're going to be doing like a really big transaction for them in their life that is literally just going to like change their life because, it's a lot of money involved and there's a lot of emotions involved. So you kind of have to, they have to trust you a lot. And so, serving and waiting tables did that a little bit, but real estate's doing it more. So I'm very grateful for just the opportunity to be in real estate and to have people like you in my life, because I was actually thinking about this earlier when I was thinking about like what was I going to talk about on the podcast. But one of the things I thought about was like, dude, I just wanted to take a moment to be like, Chris, I'm grateful for you because like, I don't think you realize, but like me and Julia, had a lot of discouragement going into real estate because, of course we didn't know. Yeah. we didn't know really like what we were doing, but you were like the first person who like saw something in us and was like, no, like you're going to be good at this. Like keep going. And that was really encouraging for us. And we're just super grateful to like have someone like you in our lives and as encouragement and just, the connection that we made in Jesus like was really valuable to us too. So yeah, that I was thinking about that earlier, and I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you for just everything you've.
Well, you guys have been very supportive of me, and I appreciate that too. New home construction, it's a different animal for me, and I'm starting to kind of really understand it, and it's fun. I like learning new stuff.
Yeah.
So I remember meeting you at the Brews and Views,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you came up and you had this long list of D.R. Horton homes. And I was a brand new agent, so I was like super excited. I was like, all these houses, I can sell all of them.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, I don't work for D.R. Horton. But yeah, I mean, it was super cool how you came up to me that day and it got me super excited. I was like, immediately called Julia after. I was like, I've got a D.R. Horton rep that I'm connected with now. Like this meeting is amazing. Like you have to come next week.
Well, that's good. I was excited too because like I said, I got to market to agents and
yeah.
So
yeah. I was actually just talking with some people today who I'm going to show them Julia's coming soon listing, but I don't know what they're looking for exactly, but they're moving down here soon. So it's my first I guess buyer client who really wants to work with me. So
well, good.
That's exciting.
That is exciting.
But I guess my next question is working with D.R. Horton. Like, what's that look like for you?
Well,
because it's different than like general real estate.
Yeah. So real estate. So yeah, there's real estate brokerage, right?
Yeah.
And you can either be a realtor or you could be not part of the National Association of Realtors, which I take a lot of commercials that way, but they're not part of the. Anyway, just kind of what I'm learning down here. And then we're a builder, so we're a landowner. D.R. Horton's a landowner.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you look at it that way. We also are in the mortgage business, so we have a sister company that's a mortgage company. We have a sister company that's an insurance company, and also a title company.
Right, so you can take care of basically the whole transaction of someone buying a home.
Yeah, and I think they really make their money right on the land, on selling the land. I think that's everything else is a little profit center, but I think they make their profit on selling they buy big tracts of land, subdivide it, and then so when every time they close on a lot or a house,
right,
they get a big chunk of profit.
Yeah.
And I like the company, I really do. We have an internal sales team which operates almost like our own little MLS. So our inventory is our inventory, and all of us agents can sell it.
Yeah.
But then we also network with real estate agents because we want to build connections. So if you have a client looking for something that we have, you come to me, and
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's been good. It's been good on helping me. I got to know the geography by that sales job I had.
Yeah.
And now I'm learning the real estate community. I like the fact that I got inventory to sell, and I also like the fact that they understand the business, from the aspect of, hey, we're a landowner, so we have to sell our land and our houses, and they provide some great incentives. They build a good product, and they have great incentives to keep the whole machine moving. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what do you have to say to because there's a lot of buyers who have heard really bad things about D.R. Horton. And I'm sure you've heard that too. What do you have to say to those people? Because
it's interesting. I've heard that. I've heard a couple things, and I've asked about it. So I do understand coming out of COVID. There was all kinds of supply chains. There was vendors. There were issues with, all kinds of things from construction to manufacturing to all kinds of industries.
Yeah.
There was and I think we had some quality control issues at that time. I know that's been fixed, and I got to tell you, I lived in a D.R. Horton program or house when I moved down here. I went through their warranty thing. My son bought it, and he was deployed at the time, so I got to do the walkthroughs and the warranty and all that stuff with them. And I wouldn't work for a company that did bad things. I have not seen anything. In fact, I've actually seen the opposite.
Yeah.
Where our community supervisors, superintendents on construction, I've seen them do some amazing things on walkthroughs. They want to make sure the customer's happy. My sales manager, I've seen her do some wonderful things to get people on houses. And to be honest with you, my best success story is that one of the guys that is coming down to build the new hotel downtown.
Are you talking about the Hard Rock or the Tristan? There's
Hard
two
Rock.
of them.
Yeah, the Hard Rock. One of the top guys. He's in construction, and my very first deal was with him and his agent. They bought one of our spot lots, and it was and he's happy.
Yeah.
And that's it. Someone with that much experience in construction.
Yeah.
And he's happy with the finished product.
Yeah.
And you know what? He worked with our super. There was a couple things that weren't right. That he worked with our super, and we got it right. And everybody's happy. And I think that's the best.
I've got a DR.
So I have heard that.
Yeah.
And I just know that what I've seen has been top notch, to be honest with you. And the other thing I've heard is more so from the lenders, because the lenders, if you have a client, I would say bring them out to our community, see if they would like our product. You know what I mean? Because if they work with a lender outside of D.R. Horton, and then you bring them to our product, and they want to buy one of our products, they're probably going to go with our lender because we offer such good incentives with them.
Yeah, exactly.
So it kind of cuts out the outside lender.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of rub on that. And actually, I've heard some lenders that have told people not to buy with us because the lender was going to get cut out of the deal, which I have an issue with because that's not really looking out for the best thing for the person.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly, I mean? Yeah.
But
they just get jealous or whatever it is.
And being the largest home builder, whenever you're the largest, you're the biggest, and you're the best, you got a big target on you.
Yeah,
And that's
I
just
think a lot of
reality
people
too.
get upset because they see it as like a monopoly and like it's not right, you know, whatever. But I mean, so I also work with this guy on the east side named Dylan
Okay.
for like our DR Horton stuff. And
Right.
one day he was like, "Let me show you these communities that are actually being built." And so we took a ride down to, I think it's called Captain's Cove.
Yeah.
And there's some houses being built there. They're in like their earlier stages, like stage like 5 or something. I think he said stage 3 or 5. And he was showing me like the hurricane straps. He does it on y'all do it on every single like one of them. And he was showing me like J bolts that go like deep into the ground and they're like 10 feet tall or whatever. So I kind of made a video about it. I still have to edit it, but I was like, dude, there's all these people commenting on this video that I made about DR Horton and this home that I was just promoting. That was DR Horton. And it was like negative comments. I want to show them, like, no, like they actually do a good job in building their homes and they have a quality product. So I feel like me and you should make a video sometime going over just like how, I guess like the objections that people have to DR Horton.
Yeah.
And you know how it's a good product, it's solid, they have all these incentives, and
Well, that's
how
why
it's actually a good buy.
That's why I mean I've taken a couple people that have had, have come from that, heard that stuff or that school of thought or whatever, and I just say, hey, if you have objections, I'd love for you to meet my superintendent and ask them, what's up and what they, what are they doing, and so if you want to come up to the community one day and I'll get my superintendent, we can do it. That'd be great.
Yeah, I think it would be cool to do a video like that.
I think it's a great. I think it's a great product, and I got to tell you, from the perspective of getting people into a house, it has really, people nowadays, and I get it. I get the economics of it all, but here's the thing: is people are like, oh, well, owning a house is unattainable, and it's not. It's not, and that's what I want to get across to.
You can keep talking.
As many people as I can, because some of the programs that we have are literally get into a house with, no money down, and like our $1 VA program, they like buy a house with $1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's because we have the mortgage, title, insurance. So we have that economies of scale, and we put that on the front end to do whatever we can to get them in the house, because we're a landowner. If we don't sell houses, the whole machine shuts down.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's all really good. I was kind of thinking as you were talking, and I wanted to touch on another point.
Yeah.
When you were doing general real estate in Montana, right?
Yeah.
And that was with Keller Williams.
That was with Keller
So
Williams.
you said you had a team, right?
I did. I was a solo agent for a few years. Then I had a small team, and then I got into leadership. And once I got into leadership, I got into being the broker, supervising broker. And once I got into supervising broker, I didn't really leave that. It's just I was an owner of the company too, and I didn't really trust the broker to anybody else because it's a very important role.
Right, yeah.
And so I just stayed right there. And that eventually burned me out of it.
Yeah.
Because, KW's a big volume business, and we
Right.
had like 170 agents, and it was a lot.
Yeah.
And so, in fact, my kids are like, man, you're so accessible on the phone. Whenever I text you or call you, you're like right there. And I think I got programmed with that many agents.
Yeah.
There's a problem that can happen at any time.
Right, yeah.
That I always had my phone, and oh yeah, we can do that, or
Yeah.
So it's funny. Everybody's like, dude, you're so accessible.
Yeah, that must have turned you into a really good problem solver, huh?
I love problem solving.
Yeah.
When everybody's willing to find a solution.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah, so you like to. I feel like just like with meeting you and knowing you, you have like an interest in like teaching people things.
You know, I did, and I love that aspect. Being the broker, right? The broker is allowed to dictate training requirements, and Keller Williams was a big training company, and I loved that. And man, what I enjoyed most was like, you know, that moment where you're teaching somebody and you teach them something that they get that you know is going to change their life.
Right.
Like, they're like, hey, I got that. And then they implement it and they have success.
Yeah, and to see that.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I would spend time with everybody because I learned too from people. Like I learned, you know, I learned how to read body language. I learned what people needed. I learned how to meet them where they were. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it takes a lot to run a brokerage. So.
Yeah. When you begin to teach people things, like what are you thinking? Like what is your like process? Because I feel like you've helped me learn a lot already, but like when you get to, I feel like in one of our first few conversations, you were like, yeah, I've helped a lot of like young agents, you know, prosper and you said become millionaires.
Yeah.
And so that's just super cool to me. So I feel like what are the most valuable like nuggets that you are able to give to people that are starting out or might not have like that breakthrough yet in their business that you feel like you have been able to share with people?
Yeah. So
Follow.
I would totally say like
You can put them down.
I mean, no, I actually love animals. So I'm okay. I would say, okay, let's just get real quick. One is you gotta learn to ask for the business, right? I've met a lot of agents over the years that like real estate and they like people and they like helping people, but they haven't been able to bridge that. So you gotta learn how to ask for the business, okay? That's number one. Number two is you gotta build your database.
Right.
You gotta, in fact, I love Gary Keller. He, you know, has taught me some really cool things. And one of my favorite was, you know, him saying he doesn't even carry business cards, but he carries a pen, he carries a note, and he would say, well, let me have your information.
Right.
Getting people's information
I do that now.
Is absolutely critical because I can give out my business card, but I'm trusting them to call me.
Right.
Whereas if I say, you know what, let me get your card, I'll send you a card.
Yeah.
Now I have your information.
Yeah.
And then I got to have a plan on what to do with that information.
Yeah.
I got to send out stuff. I think you get an email from me every week, you know what I mean? And, you know, the people that come into my office to look at homes, they get a call, they get an email and a text every week from me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I try to add value, but and then the third thing is you got to have, and this came out of Bold. You're at KW, you heard about Bold, but
it's like one of their training
when that comes around, you got to take it. You got to take Bold. You and Julie.
I think Ignite's going on right now.
Yeah.
But we weren't able to make the cutoff. So.
Well, when you get Bold is really good. And then the thing that the one thing that came out of Bold was you got to have 25 conversations a day with people.
Yeah.
25 conversations with people. Real estate conversations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because it's a numbers game.
Yeah.
It is a numbers game.
So how do you have 25 conversations a day? Just cold calling, or?
Well, you can do that, or you know, I would put myself in the pathway of buyers. I'd be doing open houses. When I started real estate in Montana, I didn't know a soul.
Yeah.
I didn't know a soul. Actually, I take that back. My wife had some friends, and I remember we went over to their house for dinner. And right off the bat, though, she's like, hey, I already have an agent. You know what I mean? So I did like 3-4 open houses a week.
Huh.
Like, Wednesday at noon to 3, right? Thursday from 4 to 7, Saturdays from noon to 3, Sundays after church, because I had to build that.
Yeah.
I got involved in the community. Like I went to networking meetings, I joined search and rescue, I did things for the community to get my name out there, people know me. I got to be known as like a very direct person, problem solver. Hey, this guy's a good guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I think you have to do. Today, there's an element of technology.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand. You know what I mean? I'm proud that I feel like I had a very successful real estate company by teaching agents how to organically lead generate. I mean, our website was one of those canned KW templated websites that didn't even work half the time. So I was like, we grew the most profitable Keller Williams in Montana, without even a functioning website.
Well, yeah.
Because
it's about the people.
Residential real estate is very emotional. You said that, and you don't get emotion out of a tech text or a thread or an insight.
Yeah.
You get the emotion by having the connection.
Dude, and that's what I want to build my business off of anyways. Because
well, you are in the right spot, because you know what? 9 out of 10 agents out there are sitting back waiting for AI to send them a lead. So you go be the difference. Get out there in the community, get it out there in your church.
Yeah.
Come from contribution and tell people how you can help them. Yeah.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I feel like I always just want to help people. To me, it's honestly not even about the money. It's just about helping someone and being able to provide that stress relief for someone, take something off their shoulders that they're trying to do on their own. You know what I'm saying? And so I've always done that with music. I've always had a music studio. I record people and make their beats and instrumentals and whatnot. And teach them about the marketing side of things and how to get their music out to the right ears and whatnot. So that's always been fun. But real estate is definitely something that I feel like I genuinely want to help people with. But at the same time, I feel like that part of my personality makes me feel like cold calling is such a pushy thing to do. And so I think about cold calling and I'm like, oh my gosh, I really don't want to do this. And then when I do it, not to say that I'm bad at it or anything, but I feel like I'm just not enjoying myself, and therefore it's just not producing for me.
So let's find 5 to 7 other lead generation sources that you like doing. That's the key.
I think events is one of them.
Well, that's the key, because here's the thing. If you do it, if you're like, okay, I'm gonna cold call. I don't like to do it. I don't feel good when I do it. And then chances are you're not gonna do it, and you're not gonna do it at a high level.
Yeah.
So you know what? Just scrap that.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's find 5 to 7 other lead gen sources.
Yeah.
Because there's a ton of them out there.
Yeah.
There's a ton of them.
Yeah.
And so you say events.
Events is one of them. So every Saturday, I have this thing called Open Studio, to where my studio is open to anybody who wants to come here, and it's from 6 to 10 every Saturday. And of course, during that time, I'm gonna bring up I'm a real estate agent, and I'm gonna make it known during that time that if you ever need help, please reach out to me.
Yeah.
But other than that, we're gonna be songwriting and just building our relationship, And then I also thought about doing these kind of seminar things, because I have kind of a knack for teaching as well. And so I thought about putting together a first-time home buyers seminar, if you will, and just going to different apartment complexes down in the area and just being hey, do you mind if I use this space in your lobby for 5 to 7 tonight, and we just promote it to your residents here, and whoever wants to come can come. And kind of just teaching people about what the process of buying your first home looks like. And because I feel like a lot of people don't really, understand the details of, buying your first home if they've never done it before. So
you should check out, Gary Keller did a book. Go to kellerinc.com, kellerinc.com. if they still have it. I don't know. I've been out of it for a little bit, but
Mm.
he wrote a book called Your First Home,
Oh,
and it
okay.
might be a good gift.
Yeah,
buy
that's
a
true.
buy a case of them,
Yeah.
and they come to your seminar and give them a book.
Yeah, that's
You know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah, that's
you
right.
write in it, right?
That's a good idea.
Put your card in there, right?
Yeah,
Write
yeah.
them a note.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So those two, social media, I think is going to be one that I really enjoy doing because I like this video stuff. I like the audio side of things too. So all that is something that I just naturally do. But I don't know. I just feel like there's also a part of me too that is a little bit like fearful that I'm gonna say the wrong thing and just like not be like somebody who's reliable in that way, because I still feel like, gosh, dude, I just got into this a few months ago and
So
I feel like I know a little bit more than like the average person now, but I feel like still there's a lot of people who probably, could figure this out faster than I could right now.
but that's okay, right? So at different stages of our business, we got to get comfortable with different questions, right? So
Yeah.
at your stage, you want to know who can help you, because real estate, there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
There's a lot to it. You're licensed, so you have a little bit more regulation on top of you too that you've got to abide by, right? So there's a lot to it. So don't ever be afraid to say, I don't know, but you know what? My broker knows all that.
Yeah.
Let's
that's
get a
right.
meeting. Or I have resources that can help us with that. The other thing too is I would really get good at asking good open-ended questions, right? Because you ask good open-ended questions. Now it gives you time to gather information and listen, take notes, right?
Yeah.
But also, by asking good open-ended questions, you're controlling the dialogue. You're controlling the conversation. And you're allowing them to speak. And when, I think it's like, they did a study, and the people who talk the most in a conversation feel like they got the most out of it, right? And the person who asks the questions is the one who controls the conversation. So be a good open-ended question asker.
Yeah.
Right? And then also don't have that fear of, well, what if I don't know the answer to the question? Because you know what? You can't know everything.
Yeah.
And that's that's one of the biggest things that holds agents back from going and finding business. Because they're like, well, I don't know the answer. Well, so you got to know who's your support team. Who would know that?
Yeah.
Right? And you can't be afraid to call on them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the other thing is don't wait for your marketing to be perfect. Like I said, Gary Keller, right? He doesn't even carry business cards.
Yeah.
If he gets to talking to somebody, he says, "What's your information?" And if they don't have a card, he writes it down. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of agents get stymied at, well, my marketing's not set, so I don't want to talk to anybody. How ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes what? At least 30 days to close a deal?
Yeah.
So start talking today. Don't be afraid of that. I've had a lot of agents that just couldn't get past that. Well, I just feel like I don't know and I'm going to look stupid. Well, you know what? We're all going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And you got to get comfortable saying, you know what? That's a really good question. I don't know. I'll find out for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
In fact, it's a great way to get somebody's phone number at an open house. They ask you a question and you go, hey, I really don't know. That's a good question. So I'll go find the answer. How do I get back to you? Oh, well, text it to me at 251. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, so open houses down here, I haven't had a lot of success doing them, to be honest. I've maybe had like 5 conversations
Okay.
at open house. Because just like, I promote it on social media beforehand, like I tell other agents about it, I tell my friends about it, but like nobody cares to show up. So I don't know how to...
Okay, that's good. Let's talk about
And
that.
maybe it's because like I got licensed and it was like winter time, and like all the way up until basically March I wasn't getting anything at open houses.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it was just the time of year. But even still, like, it's still super slow. Like, it feels like at open houses.
Well, okay.
The best ones are actually yours, like the DR Horton on the west side specifically, because I think that Greenfield one, like we had most of our open houses there for you, but that Greenfield one is like attractive to people, especially because it's right off,
And there's a couple of
Berry
them, yeah.
Road, yeah, and it's a really cool floor plan.
Yeah.
Got a lot of land there, so I think people are just naturally attracted to that one. But I don't think I, brought anybody because I posted it on social media and they saw it and they decided to come, or saw like maybe like 2 or 3 times people saw my signs out and so they decided to come. But other than that, dude.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a second.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of agents, I think a successful open house is really in the prep. All right, and I would outline a strategy for open houses, and I'd say, look, I want you to walk the neighborhood, make a simple flyer, you and Julia,
Go door knocking.
And go door knocking, and basically the script is you're inviting, hey, my name's Noah, I got the house listed over here.
Yeah, I've done that
I got
too.
all the info. I did all the research on the neighborhood, so if you're interested in selling or just want to know info,
True.
come to the open house, bring a friend.
Yeah.
Very simple, very light, you're inviting somebody, right?
Yeah.
So walk the neighborhood, right? The other thing is maybe go to the open house if you can prior, do a quick little Facebook Live, pop that out a week ahead of time.
True.
The other thing is get an open house sign that you can put on the sign. Like for that one in Greenfield, let me know. Like if you said open Saturday from, when do you guys usually do that? Like
Saturday.
Like
from,
1 to 3 or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
So get a sign made up. Open Saturday 1 to 3. Noah and Julia, and put your phone number. We'll put it on the sign. You know what I'm saying? So when people are driving by, they're like, "Oh, that's going to be open on Saturday, right?"
Yeah. I've done that too.
And your personal sphere, e-blast them, text them. I always try and get a few friends over. Hey, I'm at this open house this weekend. Hey, you and your wife come by.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. A lot of people have friends that are looking, right? And if you can get 3 or 4 of your friends just to stop by, I gotta tell you, I've sold houses on open houses where friends came in and they're like, "Oh, I know who would buy this," and I'm like, "Well, get them down here." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's so there's a little strategy to it.
Yeah.
And I would get more signs. I would have a bunch of signs.
We actually just bought 14 off Amazon, so we've got them now.
Good. So you want to have before the turn, you want to put 1, 2, 3, and then with some balloons, and then same thing on the other side.
Yeah.
And then if there's another entranceway in this way, same thing. And then before the house, you want to have a couple signs on each side.
Right.
So people are like, "Oh wow, there's something going on down there." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are agents that have made. Well, and
I've heard it, dude.
I'm like one of them. I've built a business on open houses.
Yeah, dude.
And once you sell one on an open house, it just solidifies everything.
And I feel like it just gives you that confidence too, where you're like, "Oh, okay, this is where it's at," Because I've heard, and Julia knows somebody actually who is a real estate agent in Memphis who literally. It has only been licensed for I think 3 years or something. Is now literally a millionaire off of open houses. Literally,
get
he said he has
that.
5 of them a week and just.
That's what you. That's what you got to do. You got to do that, and and that's what I'm saying is do that. Don't even waste your time on cold calling.
Yeah.
Because cold calling nowadays, I think involves the do not call registry, and
oh my gosh.
I mean, I don't even want to deal with that.
So many of so I can cold call by going on Zillow and almost being like a shopper and looking at for sale by owners or for rent by owner and just calling those numbers that are in that bio, which actually I got one of my listings doing that, but it's just not something that I feel like I particularly enjoy or would like excel doing. I don't know. Maybe I would though. Maybe I
Do you
would.
see a lot of for sale by owners around here?
There actually are quite a few.
Okay, one of the best one of my best approaches, I was going to say tactics, but approaches to a for sale by owner would be this. I would, they get hammered by agents all the time.
I know. Yeah.
So I go over and knock on the door and I ask them.
You knock on their door.
I go knock on their door and I'll be like, and this is kind of my approach.
Yeah.
I say, hey, what's going on? My name's Chris, Keller, whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, we don't want an agent. I said, no. Where are you moving to? And they go, what? And I go, well, you're selling your house, right? Where are you moving to?
Right, yeah.
And they go, oh, well, we really want to buy a house over. Well, let's go look at some.
Yeah. That's
right?
Crazy.
Because here's the thing, you just totally got rid of any angst or whatever of talking to you. You're now adding value because you want to help them move.
You're standing on their
right?
doorstep.
And here's what I would do. I would sit down with them and find out exactly where they want to be, get them qualified financially, right?
Yeah.
I'd go show them houses. And then you know what? They find a house they want and they're like, oh man, we really like this house. And I'll be like, awesome. So what needs to happen?
Yeah.
Well, we got to sell our house. And they'll be like, all right, Chris, talk to me about listing my house.
Oh my dude, that is gold right there.
But
I've never heard anybody say that.
I'm a bad. but see, you gotta create the motivation. You gotta find what they want.
That's crazy.
Because they're waiting for a buyer. They're saying no to people who can help them. Right?
Yeah.
Offer something stupid like I don't want to pay a fee, and I get it, but you're gonna bring them multiple offers, and they're gonna get their fee back.
Yeah.
But you show them what they want, and all you're doing is you're helping them see the next part of their life.
Yeah.
And that's the motivation. And then they don't care about the fee.
Yeah.
I want this house.
Right, yeah.
Right?
That's crazy. Oh my gosh. That's really good. Really good.
Okay, so you got open houses, you get 3-4 a week. You and Julia, 3-4, whatever a week. And you got go talk. Nail that down. You guys role play. You want to role play with me some night?
Yeah.
Call me. I'll come over.
Dude.
And we'll go through that and nail that.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not here to talk to you. You're selling it, right? Well, yeah. Okay. Well, where are you moving to? And if they're moving out of state, find them an agent. Set up a referral. Say, hey, is there anything I can do to help you sell? You need any info? Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once they connect with that agent in Atlanta, and that agent finds them, that agent is going to say, well, you want to buy this house? Yeah. Well, call Noah and get your house on the market. You know what I mean?
Yeah, get it sold. Yep. That's super good.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, gosh, dude. I mean, I feel like as far as time, we did pretty good.
But we need a part 2 sometime.
I know.
Right?
I know. Yeah, we do. And I thought this was a really good conversation.
Well, good.
We got into it. But gosh, I guess my last question is, I was thinking about this while I was at work today. Like, what is like one question that I want to ask all my guests at the end of every podcast? And I guess it's like something along the lines of like, what if there was one thing that you could pass along to like the generation who are kids right now and coming up and like maybe in high school don't really know what to do with their lives right now, like what would that thing be?
Yeah, don't be afraid to explore. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to fail. There is no failure. Don't be afraid, and be smart out there. Be smart. But man, I tell you what, I've talked myself out of so many good ideas just because of the confidence, or I was afraid to talk to somebody about it.
That's just the devil, though.
Don't be afraid, dude.
Yeah.
And the other thing is God gives us talents.
Yeah.
Find those talents. Talk to somebody. We have a class at church about finding those talents. Those are God-given talents, and more than likely, that's where you're going to be anyway. So find them. Talk to people. Get involved in a church or whatever. Find your talents, and find your passion, and I bet you find something that you're passionate about that lines up with your talent, and I would stay right there.
Yep.
And if you can't figure out how to make money at it, come talk to me, come talk to people, because people have gone before you.
Yeah, because I feel like if you're talented at something, just naturally, because, I don't know, I feel like people are talented at things naturally, sometimes, God-given gifts. And then you're also passionate about it, which sometimes those even go hand in hand, like you're talented at something and you're passionate about it because you're talented at it and you can do it really well, And then when those two things come together, I feel like it's God's will for us to use that.
Yes.
And to use it not only to provide for our own families and, be just a light in people's lives, but as a kind of ministry as well, because that's one thing that I've actually been doing with my studio. This last weekend, I think it was earlier this week actually it was this last weekend. I met a couple guys who I was playing basketball with at Navy Federal down the street here. Mm-hmm. And I told them, I recently moved down here not too long ago, but I got licensed in real estate, and I also opened a music studio recently as well. So if you know anybody who makes music, he was like, oh yeah, I actually make music. And so I was like, super cool. After our game, I handed him my card, and it has like a cross on the back, and the studio itself is called The Tabernacle. And he was like, oh, is this like a church studio? And I was like, it's like a faith-based studio, and he was like a little bit hesitant. He was like, so do you record like all kinds of music or just like Christian music? And I was like, no, dude, I record all kinds of music. And I was like, literally, come by. Like, it's an open studio tonight, or I think it was the next night after, every Saturday,
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, open studio. You come join us and just write with us, It's just so happened that it was only him and his friend that showed up that night. I had a busy day, but so I wasn't really wanting a whole lot of people to come over. I was still expecting a couple people, but some of the people who said they were going to come actually ended up not coming, and so it was just them. And we had a recording session, and afterwards just kind of got started talking about our spiritual beliefs and who God is, and I was able to, after recording them, even though their music was secular music, it wasn't about God, and some of the things that they were saying, kind of, I don't want to say like hurt my heart, but it was just, it's kind of sad to hear what they were going through, and so I got the opportunity afterwards to just talk to them about Jesus and share my testimony.
Yeah.
And the next day after that, dude, one of them messaged me and he was like, dude, can you send me the YouTube video of the guy you were talking about who talks about Jesus? And I was like, this is so good. Like, praise God,
That's all God.
And so I feel like passion, talent, bring them together and then use it as a ministry. Like, I feel like that is such a good thing, And like you were saying, like when God is giving us something, opportunities, because we've got that passion and we've got that talent, I can't tell you how many times I thought I was going to fail, and so I didn't do something.
Yeah.
And so that's so good to hear, and for this next generation to just know and kind of ponder on, because thinking about failure can be such a discouraging thing, and everybody deals with it. Like, it's just lies from the enemy. And so that's really good. But thank you for taking the time out of your day to
this has been
come
super
and
fun.
talk. Yeah, dude, it's super fun. That's why I like doing it, because. And I'm sorry about like me just getting home from work. I literally, as you were ringing the doorbell, I was finishing buttoning up my shirt because I just got home from work.
No. I'm gonna head to church I got my life group tonight, so
Oh, okay.
I was gonna head to church, and no, this has been great.
Dude,
Thank you so
and
much.
there's gonna be a part 2.
Yeah, we'll do a part 2, man.
We'll do a part 2, and
We'll talk a little bit more about Jesus, but
Yeah.
he's done some amazing things in my life, and yeah, I didn't mean to get a little emotional there at first, but
Dude.
I actually took me back to thinking about.
But that's good,
Those
you know,
moments, you know.
like God will provoke that in your heart, and
Yeah.
He does it so that other people can, you know, have their lives changed by Him, you know, because
Yeah.
He's in those moments, like, dude, He's speaking through you. And I didn't want to like get too personal with you because like it was our first like like sit down conversation, but yeah, I think like next time we'll get a little bit more into it, and like if you want, and you know, we don't have to get too personal, but I think it's good to share certain things in our life because, you know, everybody's got a story, and everybody's story is valuable. And when Jesus has you know, taken our lives, there's nothing more valuable than that. So
Yeah, and I've definitely learned a lot of lessons along the way, and Jesus has been right there, pointing out.
yeah,
You know.
Yeah.
So it's been a good ride. So yeah, we'll do it again.
All right. Well, yeah, thank you all for watching. If you made it to the end of the episode, check out the links in the bio, and feel free, y'all, to message me on Instagram, you know, or anywhere you'd like to message me. I've got my phone number posted everywhere, so feel free to even give me a call if you want to give me a call. Maybe one day I'll have to change my number. But, you know, yeah, I appreciate you watching, and until next time, hit the subscribe button so that you get notified about the next episode, and leave a like, leave, you know, feedback, and anyone you want to see on the podcast, just leave it in the comments section. All right, y'all, have a good rest of your day.